weak part of the game that I would say is particularly now, where you see his build is Mask of Madness and they have stun, you're just dead. So he really needs that protection from the other heroes, but unfortunately they kind of got caught in the blender. It's just outnumbered, all the AoE abilities were landing together, and Aurora lined it up very nicely. And they're getting, you know, we heard in the coach interview pre-game from Sunby, we're good with Timber, everyone else sucked.
Yeah.
Laurinov is having a great game currently on the Timber. That rotation was very big for him. I think
Confidence has never been an issue for Sunbees.
That is true.
Not surprising with that kind of an answer. It's 23. So what do you? So we kind of got cut off, but what do you think of the Whirlwind now on the Windrunner?
I think it's solid. I mean, the pro teams are running it for a reason. The first version, as we said, was probably not good enough. It got buffed quite a bit, and yeah, it's just a hero that has solid utility. It's having a carry that has its own stun from range and has AoE damage and has strong laning is pretty hard to find, right? You'd be hard pressed to find a more complete carry in a way.
Well, the way I look at it, it's kind of like a tell me if you disagree with this. It's kind of like a shorter range flat cannon, but it procs items, which is, as we're going to see, the initiation, lasso, onto the Centaur, beyond, pops the Stampede with the Blade Mill activated as well. Now he's very slow. Will they catch him? Flame Break gives him a bit of a boost. Nobody's coming to aid you, my friend. That is 9-0 Aurora, as Team Zero continuing to not find a kill.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the team name. This is their identity. The moment they get a kill, they disband. So they have to keep it this way. I will be very impressed if they win this game without a kill. I think that would be... that's on my bingo card.
Oh, that's called a caster curse right there. I mean, they did take both Wisdom Runes, so we're going to see Epicenter potentially used here on the side from 7E. Will not use it in the end. Burrow strikes outside of the wall. And ZZQ with the drinking buddies, getting a little bit extra speed there. Laurinov forcing them out completely.
Yeah, just really playing to its strengths right now. He understands how much stronger he is than everyone else in the game, and as the panel talked about, in theory, the Shadow Fiend matchup against Timbersaw is very good, but they didn't get to lane against each other. They kind of... Sure, you pick the Shadow Fiend and you effectively pushed the Timbersaw mid, but then you didn't really exploit it by putting SF mid yourself because you committed with the Centaur pick and you didn't want to play Sand King safe lane.
Right.
So you didn't really get that aspect of the matchup out of it. And now that Laurinov is this far ahead, I actually don't think the matchup's that concerning in general. Okay, this is quite the dive.
Yeah, and that's a very tanky hero. They really want that first kill. That is the last one you probably go on, though.
Yeah.
As they're going to wrap around here. Fortification was popped. Beyond's going to be using that beautiful Centaur passive to do some damage to this tower, and it'll end up resulting in a tier 1 kill.
So he is going for the pipe on Centaur.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not completely sold that this is the best choice here.
It does give a lot of regen. I mean, if you're going to go for regen, you get Heart, though, right? But then again, Heart against Timbersaw,
I mean, it's not bad. But it was the debate between this and Crimson, right? And I personally was probably more in favor of a Crimson Guard, considering Wall plus Windranger down the stretch. But maybe what they're thinking is, if the pipe we're going to get at the exact timing that we really kind of want to, where the spells are the bigger concern. Like Windranger might not be the biggest issue at the time that they want to take the game-deciding fight for them, whereas the pipe will help against the other things, and then maybe Crimson, you know, 5 to 10 minutes later would be a better choice. But then you really need to nail that timing, right? Because the way I see it, pipe is not that great, aside from a short 5 to 10 minute window here.
I mean, potentially that just shows how good the item is in general. If
Yeah.
not that much magic, I mean, you're still getting it.
Yep.
That is interesting. I mean, they do have magic damage, of course, but it's not like they have burst, just kind of elongated. As Yes Sir going to be farming up these Ancients, getting close to his BKB. So he has the Dragonlance, Mask of Madness, BKB to come.
Yep, curious to see what he does after that. You're playing against Windranger, so you probably want MKB at some point in your build. But is he going to complete the Pike first with his Dragonlance, or is he going to go for, say, a Daedalus for the damage, or is he going for that MKB and really focusing on that matchup? It's also a decent damage item against Timbersaw to have MKB, so perhaps that's worth a consideration. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit telling about where Team Zero are at right now. But I also wonder what they're at mentally. Like, it's 18 minutes, you haven't killed a hero. Like, what is your read on the game state? Do you feel like you're getting owned? Do you think it's under control, you know? Like,
hey, 3K is not that bad.
yeah, but they don't know. That's the thing, right? The players have to play on feel, and they might be like, yeah, we feel like we've got the stuff that we want, but, you know, ultimately, if you pause the game right now and ask them how far behind do you think you are, I don't know if they would, you know, guess this amount and the distribution of gold, right? You're always going to have to feel it out. Q.
Oh, Beyond, he gets initiated on. You can see the Brambles, though, connecting. Looks like this Bat Rider will be the first kill of the game for Team Zero. They are on the board officially. Terrorize gonna be used basically on Lornoff as 70 just barely gets out.
He almost killed himself stunning into Timber. He just took like 700 damage by going next to him in his Sandstorm and Epicenter combo, and Timber was barely tickled with his Eternal Shroud. So yeah, gotta be careful. I feel like 7E is a little bit too hungry to go in the Timber. I think he's probably better off looking for other alternative targets unless they feel like there's value in just the stun itself. But popping all your stuff to try to go and put damage into Timber, I feel like it's a complete waste for his hero right now. That needs to be a very coordinated team effort. But Team Zero get on the board.
Yeah, that's a feels good for them.
Yep, they got a kill. And it was a very quick reaction there. There was a great counterplay. They immediately got off the Blade Mail on Beyond and an immediate counter stun as well. So.
Oh wow, this is fast.
Yep.
All right.
Shadow Fiend's always been good at this with his aura. 4 points in Presence plus Mask of Madness. And obviously happy to have the Specialist's Array, not particularly helping here, but just helping the hero in general in the game. I think Aurora could maybe get a fight after this if they fancy it. They're not gonna be too late for
power
it.
shot.
Oh, almost stole it.
Okay, almost stole it, but yes sir, gets the Aegis. Gonna be able to kill off the Tusk right off the bat, and I think Team Zero will
Oh, he missed the
try
chain,
to turn around Lornoff. No Timber Chain for you. Gets hoof stomped and will die mid Timber Chain. That is a huge kill for Team Zero, but at the same time, they've lost their Sand King, and they're gonna lose their Centaur as well. So 4 for 1, you do maintain Aegis control. What's that worth?
All things considered, that is a relatively even exchange, I would say. I mean, the gold, of course, you're looking at an advantage going the way of the Radiant, but having this Aegis to make a potential play of your own in the near future now, as well as getting that big kill on the Timber, who was 5-0. It was a decent kill bounty going the way of, I believe it was Shadow Fiend getting the last hit, was it? No, it was actually Centaur that got the brunt of that gold. So he will buy off a Blink Dagger with that. It does give them some opportunities here, but yeah, Aurora, I really like their play call of going for that. They obviously knew they weren't getting the Aegis when the power shot scouted the pit, but they also immediately identified, okay, Tusk is half health. He arguably probably tanked a little bit too much damage there at the Roche for his SF, and Aura get a good punish.
And Ollie on the cover of Invisibility right now. See if we can set something up onto
that would be a good find.
Shadow Fiend.
Yep, this is
the Echo Stomp available, level 2.
Invis Rune, not Smoke, so he can go right behind the SF if he wanted to, but they are going to concede the area for now, knowing that there's so much backup and the Aegis, he doesn't fancy his chance. I think they saw that ward, right? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Coming out from ZZQ. And I think this is probably, actually they're going to go back. I thought they were going to commit for the tower with this D ward and having Aegis in hand, but showing some serious respect here to Aurora's potential defensive plays with Bat Rider with Blink Force Staff. I guess that's their major concern is, yeah, we can put our SF to hit the tower, but if Tusk isn't quick enough with the save with Snowball, SF is going to get pulled back to die twice. So they're going to not put it to use right now, at the very least, and it is the MKB that he's currently eyeing up after completing Pike, so he did want that first. And now going for the Tormentor. Which shard are they hoping for? Probably, I'm assuming they would rather have the Willow one. Yeah, surely. And they will get lucky.
Shiva's now online for the Sand King as well, and they have the double Blink Dagger with the SK and the Centaur, so Team Zero in pretty good position to be able to take fights.
Yeah, now
again, only a 1K lead despite it being 13-2.
Yep.
Very odd.
Yep, good farm. They have the Tormentor advantage, right? So there's some dead gold that is still available for the Radiant side if they were to get their own. Aurora, now, you're a little bit late, guys. They did take this Tormentor about a minute ago. And it was announced, but they're smoking over there now.
If you mute the player, sometimes there's a bug that it mutes the Tormentor text as well.
Ah, surely that's what it is.
Oh wow, this is a really fast Ags on Lornoff, by the way. Holy jeez.
Yeah, they don't have a Dispel for it, right? So it's actually very powerful right now. There's no way of removing it. So Lorinov can go in with a lot of confidence with his reactive armor activated.
They only really have one person that, I mean, do you force a nullifier on Team Zero to be able to counter that? I mean, it is a really good counter. I guess a Yules would be
I think Yules, and I think the name of the game for the Dire lineup right now, for the most part, honestly, is to control Lorinov but not commit for the kill. I think it's a lot of the time going to be the better approach to, you know, try to catch him with a little bit of a stun here and there, disengage from him with Stampede if he gets on top of the right heroes, and kind of play around him. Sure, they did kill him top, but it was some very specific conditions, right? Where he missed his Timber Chain. Otherwise, there was no way he was dying there. So they have to be very respectful of how strong that hero is. And of course, now that he has reactive armor, I think it's almost... I'm not going to say it's impossible to kill him, but man, they need a lot to get him.
Speaking of shards that you don't really want.
Yeah, this is not particularly great on support bat. Giving you no disarm on lasso as well as an additional sticky stack.
I mean, in this purpose, all it really does is increase your net worth by 14.
Yeah, the alternative on ET, I mean, the ET one isn't the greatest either when you're playing support ET, so in reality...
That's true, I guess. Yeah, neither are particularly great.
Yeah, these are definitely not the best shards when you're playing these heroes in supporting roles. They're both kind of good if you're playing them in core roles, but that's not happening very often in Pro Dota right now. So yeah, Aurora's lineup just doesn't have the best value out of Tormentor, but you still want to kill it for two reasons. First of all, you set up yourself for later getting a shard on the other heroes, on your cores if they want one, and you obviously remove it from the pool for the enemy, because all the shards on the Dire are, I would argue, quite good.
So Aegis not really used to fight, but
didn't get much out of that.
Perhaps it dissuaded Aurora from taking a fight themselves, so maybe that's a good enough use for Team Zero. I mean, you were talking about that fight where they lost, obviously, 4 heroes, but they did get the Aegis. You're like, this could work out well for them. Do you think this worked out well for them?
I still don't think it was a travesty. I mean, I would have liked them to somehow use the Aegis, but I think in the grand scheme of things, that bottom push could have gone really wrong. So nice reaction there from 7E getting out. Yeah, some nice... It's a very wasteful use of arrows here. The Fletcher is not going to be happy about that. 23. Just throwing out 50 arrows into nothingness. Just even go and pick them up again. Yeah, I all in all, my conclusion on that fight top, relatively inconsequential now. And it is an unusually quiet game that we have on our hands right now, both teams. That's, historically speaking, is good news for Aurora. This is a team that is no stranger to 60-plus minute games. They had, I want to say, half a year that it was almost the norm for them to play every game over 45 minutes. This tournament, you know, the average game time has been quite a bit shorter here. I believe they had a 55-minute game so far, which was one of the longest we've had, if not the longest.
Man, I am really hoping that we get to cast at least one 60-minute game at this TI.
If we do, this is a possible candidate.
Okay.
Because it has Aurora in it.
Yeah, that's true.
That increases the probability by about 50%.
50%, wow, that's quite a bit.
It depends. If the starting chance is 1%, then it's 1.5.
Oh, Lasso actually pops a Shadow Realm.
Is he?
Attempting to TP out, but the vacuum is there to cancel, so Ponlo will eventually die. So Team Zero, again, another death to their name, but not really falling that far behind, all things considered.
Yeah, this is a relatively irrelevant death. You know, they did TP rotations to kill a position 4 next to their towers, and it's a pretty poor position 4 at that, right? He's not got like massive amounts of net worth or a really important item coming up. I say that he's 500 away from Blink, but actually I don't know how good that is here. But I suppose, I mean, what else are you going to buy on the Willow? I still think the Yules that you suggested would be a nice choice here.
I'm pretty sure it's mandatory at some point.
Yeah, I would really like to see Ponlo go Yules over Dagger, but he looks pretty committed at this point. He's had it in quick buy for quite a while. Top tier 2 towers definitely gone.
I wonder how much of the damage that 23 Savage does during Whirlwind from just Maelstrom procs, if that's worth the pipe, legitimately.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that is the reason, actually. You're comparing the physical damage versus that when you're going the Crimson versus pipe math, if you will. And yeah, I think, you know what, the more I think about it when you say it, it sounds like pipe might actually just be better specifically for that reason.
Actually convince you of something. That is incredible.
Yep.
Screenshot of that.
Won't let it happen again.
Okay. Second Roche is available.
Aurora scouting it out, so they're aware. And their lineup is insane in the pit.
Absolutely. You got the Elder Titan, which is the classic Roche contester, vac wall, individual lasso, initiation. Timber is crazy in the pit.
Timber's crazy in general.
Yeah, his lore, I think, does back that up. He is legitimately crazy. They will attempt the Roche, and it looks to be theirs for the taking.
Yep.
Team Zero not going to contest. Not sure if they're even completely aware of this.
Oh, they are TPing over the Shadow Fiend now. Maybe a smoke.
It's too late if they try, but the lasso. Q onto Ponlo. Oh, the counter initiation from beyond gets the hoof stomp into the double edge. Power shot going to slow him a bit. You can see Team Zero maybe potentially trying to run back here. The vacuum is there. Shadow Fiend ult used as well. Echo Stomp is there, but the hoof stomp finally comes out from beyond, but he just gets destroyed along with the Dark Willow. Yes, sir, is dead. And that leaves one member of Team Zero alive, and that is 7E. The BKB about to run out. And that looks to be a full team wipe, an ultra kill for Lorenov. They lose the Aegis, but nobody else died.
Yeah. There's a lot of spells in that team fight for Team Zero just didn't land, right? They never got off Terrorize, or excuse me, they did get off Terrorize. They never got off Bedlam on the opener when he did survive the lasso. So it kind of looked like, okay, that lasso wasn't that good, but it was a very pitiful Requiem. I think the Sand King, the Burrow Strike hit one target. The Centaur had already committed his initiation onto the bat before his allies were there, so that didn't lead to a kill either. I would just say uncharacteristically uncoordinated here from Zero. So you're going to see the replay here, right? They go on there's the Centaur stomp onto Bat. So now you've exchanged some spells, but Centaur is now in a compromised position. This Requiem is at best. It's just blocked by the pipe. And in the meantime, this Wind Ranger is just going absolutely to town together with Lorenov, just winning on damage, right? Both teams are tanky, but one of them just hits harder.
Yep, and now that has opened up the game. This score now kind of feels right, Cinderin.
Yeah, now the net worth kind of matches the score.
18-2 with quite a large lead now. Double digit, 10K, make it 11K. And Aurora certainly are in the driver's seat. Feels like Team Zero not really showing up for this game one in some respect, perhaps. I mean, Ponlo doing that interview, I agree with Shiva. That was a really, really good interview. Very honest, very upfront about how he wasn't really happy with his past performances. This is his first TI after so many years. Perhaps there's some nerves to go along. I mean, it's not him specifically, but the team in general, potentially.
It definitely wouldn't be the first time that we see teams crumbling a little bit when the games start mattering more. You're kind of playing with the training wheels on in the group stage, where it's like, you know, some players and some teams just play better when the pressure's on and some don't. And this is one game, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But clearly, I think it's fair to say this is probably Team Zero's worst game of the tournament so far. So whether you want to read too much into that or not, let's give them a couple more games. But yeah, it definitely has not been their game so far. And now I have a second question, which is we're approaching a later stage of the game.
What was your first question?
Why are you here? My second question is...
Yeah, we're asking that.
Does Shadow Fiend hold a candle to Wind Ranger late game?
That's a good question.
I actually don't
23
know.
Savage getting gone on. We'll pop his ult in retreat with the BKB. Snowball is not really going to connect, but the Ice Shards blocks him in, but destroys the Tusk. But eventually they do find the Windrunner. 1-for-1, definitely good exchange for Team Zero. They're going to need a few more of those to get back in this game, though.
He was just completely alone on that Wind Ranger going for this move, and that's it's a meaningful punish, you know. Aurora is definitely still very comfortable, but a 50% increase in kills for Team Zero there. Very nice. Now they need to have 2 kills on Aurora. Maybe it's all part of the script for the 22-3 scoreline that you love so much, Shannon, because you're a big meme connoisseur.
That's right.
As everybody knows, you're staying young through memes.
If only that were a thing.
Yeah.
I'd be a baby. Well, Aurora obviously have to wait for their Windrunner to... Oh my god, the damage. Just a little quick exchange there, and 70 already at half health. That's the mid lane Sand King, by the way. It does have the BKB Shiva's blink, and I don't know, what what can Team Zero do to get back in this game? Obviously, finding a windrunner all by her lonesome every now and then will help attribute to some sort of a comeback. But
I mean, it's easier said than done, but honestly, I feel like in the team fights they've had, the spells have not been cast in correct coordination to begin with. So, easy answer to your question, cast your spells better. But,
okay, well there you go. Onlo gets gone on again, this time dies within the Shadow Realm. A 7E cancellation of the teleportation.
Oh, he is gone.
And he is a goner as well. So 2 quick kills for Aurora.
Yep. Yeah, so in a little bit more detail,
and we got the reverse 3-2-2, of course.
Oh, there you
Sorry,
go. So the problem that Zero faces a little bit is perhaps an issue in their lineup, if you want to look at it on a bigger scale, is Sand King, Centaur, and Tusk in the same lineup is maybe too much of the same thing, right? It's these melee heroes that go up close and have a single stun that they want to build the fight around. So perhaps the reason that their fights seem a little bit uncoordinated is that they're kind of doing each other's jobs, and it makes it difficult to line things up the way that they like. So maybe there's a little bit of a draft issue going on there. We'll see if they manage to defend here. So Crimson Guard will be deployed to delay this. They need to buy a lot of time for the Sand King. I think defending without him is more or less impossible.
Yeah, it could be a Rax here. 20 seconds. That fortification.
Q going in deep, didn't find it though.
Hoof Stomp actually does hit, but the Force Staff gives them enough space to get away. Fortification is finally popped, so they'll get the tower. And now the Sand King is alive. Do Aurora stay?
I guess on second thought as well, when I look at these lineups, something we maybe haven't thought about enough is if you look at Zero's damage breakdown, it's a ton of magic damage, and it's a lot of spread damage, right? Raises, Requiem, Sand King and Centaur's a lot of like spread magic damage over time. You don't have that big single target burst. So the first pick Timber saw, was he actually addressed at all, right?
True.
The reason it's difficult for them to access the fights the way that they want is if Aurora constantly just offer them up one target, it doesn't feel very satisfying and very natural to go in on that one guy. And they've had very good positioning of their heroes, very good formation most of the time, where they're putting Team Zero in this position. All right, guys, you have 2 choices. Are you going to jump the Timber Saw that is giga tanky, or the Darkseer that is giga tanky with auras? Those are the 2 options they most of the time present them with, and neither of those options seems appealing enough, so they kind of can't really go. And if they maintain that formation and keep offering bad fights, Zero just seem unable to pierce through them.
Beyond, he's initiated on again. The Shiva's popping. Look at the Chakram just rip him a new one. 7E. See the buyback onto the Centaur to get back in this fight as fast as possible. Echo Stomp delaying everything though.
Man, so much damage in the backline too. SF and Sand King both popping their BKBs. Tusk is down to half. They got absolutely nothing out of everything they used there. Buyback on Centaur, BKBs, clean disengage for Aurora into an immediate Tormentor. If they get lucky here, this one does not go to ET. I think they would love it on someone else. That's ET. Well, sometimes, you know, the good news is...
if he wants to go in with it, it is good,
yeah,
but he'll probably die shortly after.
He does not have the build to go in with it. He has Solar Crest Glimmer. I don't think Ollie has any interest in toggling this, but...
doesn't it reduce the cooldown as well, though?
Yeah, but the thing is, the cooldown of Astral Spirit is still higher.
Yeah.
So it's hard to use the second stomp regardless. But in some edge cases, maybe the cooldown reduction matters. If you somehow get a Spirit Stomp into then being in a position where you can stomp again, but not a very common thing at this level.
All right, well, 23 Savage now has a Satanic, so it doesn't really have to worry about the Blade Mail as much. You can just pop that in time.
Oh yeah, he is big.
As Q up, looking for an initiation. Okay, that was all over the place. Lorna pops the Shivas, finally finds the Tusk. That's going to be an easy, clean kill. Ponlo on the cliff as well. That's a double for 23 Savage, as they will likely just prepare for this Roche and 7E. Do they have the vision? They definitely do now, as Q continue to pursue. And he's left to his own devices, an eventual death. Yet another kill for Aurora, 26-3, right on the doorsteps of Roche number 3 with the old Aghanim Scepter. Who takes this? Windrunner? Honestly, they're not going to do it, but the way that Q has been initiating literally every fight would actually be really good on him.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with Bat as well, but I think Windranger is the safer choice.
For sure, it's safer.
Hasn't popped it in just yet. So maybe they are discussing it. Okay, there we go. Now he's going.
I'm carry. I eat Ags.
I mean, if nothing else, this should be quite crazy for the hero versus hero matchup against Shadow Fiend, right? Reducing physical damage taken by 45% during Wind Run.
Yeah,
makes that matchup super one-sided all of a sudden, as if it wasn't good enough for him already. And they don't have a way of dispelling it. So, yep, off we go. Off to the races. We're off to the Tier 3 number 2. And this one, unless Team Zero mount an incredible defense here, might go down as one of the more one-sided games of the tournament so far. Not one of the shortest, mind you. But really, Zero haven't really strung anything together in this 40-minute game.
No, they have not. Sheepstick on a yes, sir. This will be an easy racks for Aurora as they reposition. Still 4 minutes on that Aegis. They can take their sweet time if they want. On to the next lane they go. Question is, what is Team Zero waiting for? Because unless they're like super close to some pivotal item, no point in giving up any racks. I mean, the Roche banners are pretty annoying. 7E, Epi.
I think one potential play that they have, which is quite a commitment, is to go in for a stun into offensive pike from Shadow Fiend. You catch someone, Shadow Fiend gets multiple attacks off, and you try to use that as a single target, quote-unquote, burst, but I just don't think it's enough, man. I think these heroes are too tanky. And we'll see if they do it.
Okay,
get some
Burrow to start.
He's
still got to burn right through this Aegis. Okay, Snowball is going to save him temporarily, but the Whirlwind is doing so much damage. Beyond goes in with the Stampede. In fact, has the cart. Didn't even realize that. Shadow Fiend very useful inside that cart. He's a demon in a cart. This is a fantasy game. Mid lane goes the way of Aurora. And still no kills are to be had in this fight.
I mean, at least they drove around the king on his throne, right? Unfortunately, he was shooting with a water gun, so it didn't really matter. But it looked cool.
Oh God, I want this Axe to be so, I want it to be good so bad. Workhorse for the win, okay. Putting everything onto this Timber Saw, but look at the damage again from 23 Savage. Sand King is dead in the blink of an eye. Yes, sir, trying to use his ult, but will back away instead. Q, looking for an opening, not finding one yet. As the Sand King buys back into the game. Still has his Epi to work with. But Lornoff just seems impossible. Look at his
he is invincible.
A heart on top of everything else now. Yes, sir, already at half HP.
Oh, they're gonna try, maybe.
Activated.
No. Faking out the Epi. Is he actually going to go for it? No, now he got Chakra.
No, he will never use it the rest of the game. That's my call. 23 Savage with the Whirlwind. Yes, sir. Getting into the high ground, but brought back to the low ground, and insta-Gibbs himself. 3 dead, just like that, and the game is over. Aurora completely stomps Team Zero in this game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to write home about, is there? They just got absolutely crushed. I really like everything Aurora did in this game. I think the first big step toward this direction was the initial rotation where they got 3 kills top. Just activating your Elder Titan, going through the gate, and getting Darkseer off to a good start, and snowballing from there. And for Team Zero, just, yeah, not really, just a string of weak fights, dare I say.
That's one way to put it. Panel, what the hell happened?
I know what happened. I know what happened exactly. Q, Lorinov, and 23 Savage.